The chocolate you buy every week could be packed with heavy metals, cheap oils, and hidden sugars that ruin your health. Recent independent analyses by consumer groups and impartial labs have revealed that most bars sold in major supermarkets contain cadmium levels exceeding recommended health limits. Millions of consumers buy these chocolates thinking they're treating themselves to a harmless pleasure, unaware they're ingesting toxins that build up in the body. We've dissected every report, every lab test, and every consumer advocacy investigation to identify the 10 chocolates to absolutely avoid and the 5 that are truly worth your money. By the end, you'll discover how to recognize a quality product just by reading the label, because the difference between real chocolate and a pale imitation is obvious in seconds. Number 10. Nestlé Extra Fine Milk Chocolate. This global giant floods the shelves of the largest supermarket chains. Its milk chocolate bar is sold at a very low price for a standard portion and is marketed as a smooth and creamy chocolate. Yet, independent evaluations have given it a barely average rating, highlighting its mediocre quality. The major problem lies in its composition. This product contains barely 1/3 cocoa. The rest is just sugar, powdered milk, and vegetable fats. When you read cocoa butter on the label, you expect authenticity, but the brand adds refined palm oil to cut costs. This oil, solid at room temperature, creates that artificial creamy texture mistaken for quality, even though its nutritional profile is disastrous. It's high in saturated fats that drive up bad cholesterol. Chemical analyses have revealed that nearly half of the product consists of refined sugar. This causes insulin spikes, promotes resistance to this hormone, and represents a real sugary poison for people at metabolic risk. Furthermore, taste tests penalize the flavor, with tasters noting chemical aromas and a metallic aftertaste. This is no accident, as the use of soy lecithin as an emulsifier and artificial flavors serves to mask the lack of real cocoa. As for cadmium, the amounts detected while within permissive legal limits remain concerning for regular consumption. This heavy metal builds up in the kidneys, and chronic exposure harms renal function while increasing the risk of osteoporosis. This product embodies everything wrong with industrial chocolate: aggressive marketing, mass distribution, and minimal quality. Number 9. Milka Milk Chocolate. This brand with the purple cow is iconic on an international scale. Sold everywhere at an affordable price for a classic portion, the bar seems to offer mountain-fresh creaminess. The reality is quite different. Owned by a massive multinational, the original recipe has been completely denatured. It also contains less than 1/3 cocoa. The rest is saturated with sugar and milk. Investigations have revealed that the cocoa used comes from remote plantations where child labor is documented. Despite promises of ethical certification, only a tiny fraction of their supply is actually certified, and investigative media have recently shown young children working on these farms. Beyond ethics, the product is taste-wise mediocre. Experts have pointed out a waxy texture and a flat taste. The brand uses synthetic vanillin, a chemical compound that mimics the aroma of real vanilla without having its complexity. The difference is huge. Analyses confirm a massive sugar content and the presence of palm oil, sometimes masked through regulatory loopholes that allow vegetable fats not to be detailed below a certain minimum threshold. This sleight of hand deceives the consumer. The cadmium level remains cumulative and dangerous in the long term. If you eat it regularly for years, this metal builds up in your tissues. By buying it, you're paying for nostalgia and a brand, not for quality. Number 8. Valor Traditional Style. This brand plays on a historical image. Its product intended for melting is sold as an artisanal preparation at a medium price. However, independent tests have highlighted serious flaws. This chocolate contains barely 1/3 cocoa. To compensate, modified cornstarch is added, which thickens the mixture. It's a cheap filler that gives a false impression of density, but it's not cocoa. Taste-wise, there's an excessive sweetness without any depth, the natural bitterness of cocoa disappearing under mountains of sugar. In addition, cinnamon flavoring is added instead of the real spice, providing only a synthetic scent without the natural antioxidants. Even more serious, heavy metal tests revealed cadmium levels bordering on the danger limit, as well as traces of lead. Lead is a neurotoxin for which there is no safe threshold, accumulating in the bones and brain, affecting children's cognitive development and adults' neurological function. Although the brand boasts of its traditions, the origin of its cocoa is opaque, with no fair trade certification or guarantee on growing conditions. Nothing is known about its exact origin. The price isn't excessive, but the quality in no way justifies a regular purchase. Number 7. Lindt Excellence High Content. This will surprise more than a few. It's a brand reputed to be high-end with an impeccable image, sold at a premium price. Yet, independent testing organizations found cadmium doses representing double the strictest safety thresholds, as well as alarming levels of lead. A formidable combination. Even if the brand complies with global standards, these levels remain concerning. These metals come from the soils where the cocoa is grown, and the company sources without adequately filtering these contaminants. So we're paying a high price for a slow poisoning. Number 6. Hacendado Dark. This ubiquitous store brand offers its very dark bar at an unbeatable price. Qualitative tests have given it a mediocre rating. The brand uses bean blends of unknown origin. In the mouth, tasters noted a harsh and astringent sensation that scrapes the palate. Analyses also showed a very low polyphenol content, those beneficial antioxidants, with levels twice as low as those in good chocolates. Traces of cadmium are present, and the vanilla flavoring is purely artificial. You get exactly what you pay for, nothing more. Number 5. Nestlé for dessert. It contains a mixture of palm oil, cocoa butter, and lecithin. This combination melts easily, but proves to be nutritionally catastrophic. Tests have shown that this baking product has a terrible lipid profile, saturated with harmful fats and lacking beneficial fatty acids. Using it in your cakes is like injecting hidden trans fats into them. Refined palm oil generates compounds that act like these trans fats, increasing bad cholesterol and inflaming the arteries. The taste is flat, described as simply sweet, without any character, which makes sense since the flavor is diluted in sugar and fat, given the low cocoa content. Furthermore, it contains unidentified artificial flavors, as laws allow the use of dozens of chemical compounds under the simple label of flavoring. Traces of cadmium were also detected in it. For baking, opt for real alternatives with a high cocoa content. This product is just a sugary trap. Number 4. Carrefour Milk Chocolate. This major retailer offers a very low-priced bar that seems like a good deal. It's not. Independent investigations have shown that this chocolate flirts with the minimum cocoa threshold to be allowed to carry that name, barely exceeding it. The rest is composed of an astronomical amount of sugar and powdered milk. The fat comes from a vague mixture of cocoa butter and unspecified vegetable oil, taking advantage of legal loopholes that allow certain ingredients to be hidden under minimal percentages. The texture is grainy, leaving an unpleasant waxy residue in the mouth, a sign of poor crystallization or the use of partially hydrogenated fats. Microbiological analyses even found a bacterial load at the limit of tolerance, revealing barely passable production hygiene. Accumulative levels of cadmium are present. Total opacity regarding the origin of the cocoa allows for buying at a discount, at the expense of quality and sustainability. It's a simple filler product. Number 3. Dia Intense Dark. Sold at a rock-bottom price, this product boasts a high cocoa content. Yet, tests revealed the highest levels of cadmium among budget bars, coupled with traces of lead. This synergy is quite formidable. To the taste, it's a burnt flavor and a sandy texture. The brand sources from wholesale markets with no traceability at all. Antioxidant polyphenols are almost non-existent compared to quality chocolate. Thinking you're getting a deal by buying it is a serious health mistake. Number 2. La Casa Milk. This old and once respected brand now sells mediocre industrial quality, far from its original craftsmanship. Sold at a moderate price, reviews highlight a medium to low quality. With barely 1/3 of cocoa and a lot of sugar, the texture has become pasty and the flavor incredibly sweet, devoid of any complexity. Cadmium levels are concerning, and palm oil is hidden there under the name of vegetable fat. You pay for history and nostalgia, but in no way for real chocolate. Number 1. Coca-Cola from the most economical range. We've hit rock bottom. Sold at the most miserable price on the market, this product is a real poison. Independent analyses revealed cadmium levels far exceeding legal limits, which should ban its sale, but weak controls keep it on the shelves. Lead levels are doubled compared to other sub-brands. Worse still, microbiological analyses detected mold spores in a large portion of the samples. These spores produce highly carcinogenic mycotoxins like aflatoxins and ochratoxins, which once ingested accumulate in the liver without being eliminated. The taste test is catastrophic, with a rancid taste, a brittle texture, and a musty smell, proof of deplorable storage where the cocoa absorbed moisture. The actual share of cocoa seems much lower than announced, drowned in anonymous fats and sugars. With no indication of origin, the beans come from uncontrolled supply chains. This is not chocolate. Avoid it at all costs. We've reviewed the brands to avoid. Industrial filler products represent the worst, while rigorous artisans offer the best. Next time you go shopping, take the time to read the label and check the origin. Don't let marketing dictate your choices. Choose a bar that still reminds you of the fruit of the tree it comes from.